Alright guys, this is my video on silver and why I think it's going to $45 in the next year or two. It's possible even sooner, but let's just say for simplicity in the next year or two. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible using gold versus silver graph here. There's a lot more back NTA, but this is probably the easiest for you guys to understand. So what I have here is the 10-year gold versus silver average. A lot of people have been talking about the latest crash as the crash of 2008, and so this is gold and silver right after that. So one thing about silver is when it runs way harder than gold. Gold tends to run much longer, so you'll see it has more staying power. But then it also is the first to run, and silver always lags it. And I'll show you the lag part here. If I switch to 20 years, you can actually see silver down here lagging gold quite a bit. And then soon around 2008, we get the crash, and when the crash happened, the exact same thing we just had, where you see right here is where the crash, and then you started getting those stimulus checks and the Fed pumping money and inflation, and by the next year, you kind of had skyrocketing action. And silver had a big squeeze on it, went all the way to 48.60. And then you kind of see then people taking profits. Gold had a staying power, and then the markets corrected, and people didn't think gold and silver were that needed anymore. So they cashed back in and went back in the markets. Right now, people are starting to get thinking we're kind of at the top again, and the Fed's talking about pumping more and more money in, so the dollar is getting less and less value. You just saw today that I think it was the 18th biggest economy. Inflation is getting out of control. I forget the country, but some of the biggest economies in the world, inflation is skyrocketing. So people want to know the safe havens for money. My big ones I talk about all the time is silver, obviously. Gold is also great, but I think gold has run so much that silver is the better value, which is why I talk about silver. Bonds is also huge. TLT is great, but I personally think silver is a better value than TLT. I could talk about TLT in another video. So let's talk about where we're at now. So as of right now, we saw today, this is not SLV, by the way. This is the actual price of silver. SLV lags the price of silver because of the way the ETF is made up. So silver or gold today got over 2,000. So I think this hasn't updated for today's move, but so this is a day old. So you can see here, if we're right here and gold is already above where it's at before, so gold basically we're comparing it kind of to when it was right here. So if it's lagging right there, and we're just using the simplistic gold versus silver chart, so silver's got to catch up to gold, that means within the next year we're going to see silver overtake gold again, and that means 45 in the next year. And if it overtakes gold, it could even hit 60. I don't want to get ahead in the hypotheses on that, but it is possible that it could hit 60 next year. That's why I just preach leaps, 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 leaps. Just let it go. Forget about it. I posted another video on how to use leap spreads every day to make profits. You could totally do that with silver. I notice silver runs more overnight usually than during the day, but that doesn't mean you can't still use it during the day. If we got that dip like today and it was bought up, I think I made 50% on that dip easily. With a leap, you'd probably make maybe 8 to 10%, but without using day trade, I'll take 10% every day. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope it helps explain real simply what I'm looking at here and why I think it can get so high. I have done a lot of other back end into that. But I don't want to make this video an hour long going through the dollar index and going through a lot of other indicators I looked at. So simple, easy to see is the gold versus silver and kind of how it's playing catch up now. If you have any questions, I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Post those in the comments, or you can always DM me on the Discord.